right, welcome back into Indiebnb. Today we have the pleasure of speaking with Logan Lynn. Logan, how we doing, man?
Hi, thanks for having me on. Doing good.
Where are you coming from? Where are you coming to us from?
I am broadcasting live from Boise, Idaho currently, but I am about to be headed back home to Portland, Oregon, where I will live out the remainder of my days.
I like it. I like it. Boise, you go heading over to Bogus Basin, maybe hitting the blue field a little bit.
I have. Yeah, I came here in December 2022 for love and to make a record, and have done that, and now I'm headed back home.
All right, all right. Well, I'm interested to hear your take on the city of Boise and what that brought to the record. I mean, what made you want to record there?
I think I had a long period of time where I was not in relationship. I was single, and then I met somebody, and they were in Boise, and it just seemed like the right thing to do to come here. The record I had started to write and continued to write during that experience, and as that experience kind of fell apart, I continued to, I made the film, started sort of finishing the record then, and it's very much encapsulated in Idaho, the experience and the collection of songs.
Oh, very cool. Now, are we talking about the softcore album that is your latest out here?
Yes, correct.
Awesome, awesome. Well, we always start with like, hey, like, where'd you get your name from? Is your stage name the same as your real name? Is
My
that
mom
the?
and dad. Yeah, no, that's one of my only regrets. I don't have a lot of them in my career, but I think if I had it to do over again, I would probably choose a stage name, something that's not going to be on my driver's license.
Well, I mean, I think I always think that Logan. I mean, Logan Lynn, you got a good alliteration, so you're kind of lucky in that fashion. You have your name is marketable. I love it.
I was born and given a stage name. Yes, I do think sometimes, especially early in my career, the late '90s, like people were like, "Is that a country singer?" And no, it is not.
I got you. I got you. Well, what about for you? The softcore album. You
Yeah.
came. This is something that you just have finished up working on. Like, where did you come up with a name for that? Album names is something that kind of gets lost in the sauce, just like music videos and other parts of what artists are doing. And how did you come up with softcore? What made you feel that way?
Yeah, I feel like there's sort of two things going on with the title and with just the whole theme of the record. It's certainly there's the on the nose part, which is that it's very horny throughout. It's about sex and love and relationship. Um, and then there's also, I think, this resounding theme throughout each of the songs, certainly throughout the record itself, of me trying to stay soft, trying to stay open to love, trying not to harden up because of the world around me or the experience I'm navigating. So I think it's both. It's like, softcore as in sex or sexy, and also soft at my core.
I like that. I like the double meaning. What you've been doing this for a really long time, and like, how much different do you feel like the environment is today than maybe when you first started, or kind of, especially in making a record? I mean, like, I'm
Yeah.
sure it's changed a little bit.
Well, I was 17 when I first got signed, and I super sucked. It was the late 90s, so like that experience was very different than now. I am not 17 and also don't suck. So all of these things are, I love 2024 when compared to 1998. I think also just as like an out gay musician, it's a lot easier to put out records and have those
Mhm.
records find a wider audience or an audience at all. I think, I've had several record label disasters over the years. Everybody loves to sign me historically and then drop me after the first record, which has not happened. This last round I got signed to Kill Rock Stars. It feels like finally made it to my home, and they really support and believe in me and have taken the time to actually invest in my career. And so here we are. There was single. There's been singles and videos and films, and this is the second full length. There was an EP. There's been several EPs actually. So Kill Rockstars has sort of rescripted that. So in that way, that's also very different. I realize that's sort of just me, sort of a personal view into the music industry, but it's much better on this side. And I think broadly, it's a lot easier to get people to hear your music while simultaneously being a lot harder to sort of carve a lane for yourself because there's so much access. So it's funny. It's the Wild West. I do think every time I put out a record, I'm kind of on like a 3-year cycle, it seems like. but the whole music industry has changed. Every time I put out a record, the recommendation, like, you can't use the same release checklist. The
Mhm.
recommendations are all different. The platforms are all different. The way you use the platforms is very different. And that, I think, in the olden days, it was like, would you like to buy my CD? And now it's not that at
Yeah.
all.
It's funny, we asked that same question to Bad Bad Hats, and they had a very similar, like, yeah, the what we have to do and like the platforms that we have to work on, whether they're, TikTok and Instagram and all these things, like those have changed so much, because they were like, yeah, when we started it was MySpace. And I'm sure you've been doing this through the MySpace era into these, new platforms. Like, what's that like navigating that stuff? I mean, like,
It sucks. I think, like, I learned at my when MySpace ended that, like, had I not moved those people over to my email list, I would have been without a career pretty quickly. I think you have to sort of keep the audience close. You can't rely on third
mhm,
party platforms. If you're not favored by the algorithm, which oftentimes artists like myself are not, you're kind of shit out of luck unless you pay. So
yeah.
save your pennies. And I think, there's silly stuff happening now, where, like, we made that EP last in 2023 last year, and the producers were like, okay, the Spotify algorithm doesn't like anything longer than 3 minutes, so we got to cut half a minute off of each of these songs. Like, just stuff like that I never used to think about.
Yeah.
And it did work. Those, like, they all kind of went viral, which was cool, but also, like, come on, robots, let us just do the normal thing. I'm not one of these dancing TikTok people. There are certain things I just won't do. I'd rather not be successful than do them. But to each their own. More power to you if you have a choreography thing going on that gets you views and gets people to listen to your music. I think that's cool. Good for you. I can't go too far into the internet cringe, or I can't leave the house. So I have to protect myself from all that.
Yeah. I mean, I think, a lot of people, it's almost like as I talk with folks, it's a necessary evil to kind of get into all right, we got it. It's like people aren't like, are you practicing, your songs, or hey, are you out there making content? Cause that's really what we need you to do doing. So, I see a lot
Yeah.
of kind of things about that, but, well, like, let's get into the music where, I
Okay.
think where the core of this is like in the soft core of it, no pun intended there. There you go. Right.
Fun.
um, I feel alone when I'm with you. This one, stuck out to me. I was listening to during the day today, and I felt all right. Like kind of like a bad date was what I was listening to when I heard that one. So you mentioned this is really relationship focused, horny record. Like, talk
Yeah.
to me about like this song in particular. Like, what kind of inspired it, and then also how it kind of came together musically as well.
Sure, yeah. Well, I mean, I think the whole record story is like, I'm in love, then I am hurt, then I am trying to stay open to love finding me again, right? Like, that's sort of the arc of the record. And that song is about sort of that moment where I realized that I would be better off alone, actually
Mhm.
alone, than feeling alone in the company of somebody who's supposed to love me. I got into a situation with somebody who just didn't love and care for me, didn't actually ultimately want to be in that relationship. All of the things that's like, oh my god, groundbreaking breakup record. However, I think the part that's unusual for me and why this one hit harder than maybe other breakups have is just because I had taken so much time off. I had started, I kind of had this big public breakup, sort of a running theme. My God. But I was like, I'm done with men. And then I wanted to take a year off. And that year turned into, a bunch more years because the pandemic happened.
Yeah.
And by the time I emerged, I was just so very, very horny. And I think also susceptible probably to kindness or like togetherness, like just the idea that I'm not alone. Like, I was like, okay, cool. And I just let the wrong person in, and then fucked up my life because of that. However, my specialty in the olden days was always like, to when bad things would happen in life, was like to make things worse, take it out on myself somehow, destroy my career in creative ways, different things like that. And I didn't do any of that this time. I think I'm an adult now. The internet says I've been an adult for a while, but I only recently feel like one. And I
Yeah.
think this experience was kind of proof that I've grown up a little. To be able to make art in the midst of suffering is always something I'm trying to do. I'd rather create and give it away than wallow in the muck and mire. And I think this record allowed for that, which was cool.
Do you kind of feel like it was a bit of a therapy, kind of like to kind of in you're going through this experience, but then also you have this outlet to be able to all right, like that's out there now, and it's on paper, and we're kind of moving forward.
Yeah, keep it moving. I think always using it as a therapeutic tool. Again, totally groundbreaking. Music helps you feel better if you like songs.
Yeah.
But that is what's going on, and I
Yeah.
do welcome that experience always. And I think the higher dream, the higher hope, the higher goal is that I'm creating something and then giving it to the world so that the experience doesn't belong to me anymore, or not just me. It's more of
Mhm.
a thing that I've made into something beautiful, and then fly birdie fly. And this time I was able to do that really sort of in real time, which was cool.
Yeah, awesome. Well, for the songwriting portion of it, like, are you a lyrics first? Are you a, going into the, the phone and yelling into the notes app? Like, what's your process look like there?
Yeah, my I was raised in a cappella only church, and so I started writing songs really young. And they all always come out as like fully formed a cappella spirituals first. They're like an arrangement, no instruments, and then I take that sort of arrangement, a cappella arrangement, to a producer and build out the music from there. This record was made with my longtime collaborator Gino Mari, who's really talented, and we work really well together. So the process was really easy. I think there are records in my catalog where you can tell that I'm the one who's writing the music and playing the instruments too. And I just feel like everybody's glad those days are over. So I always try to work with somebody who gets the vision and can help me realize that vision in a way that I
Mhm.
could never do by myself.
Gotcha. Well, with the kind of when you're creating, like, is live part of that, kind of equation, or is that kind of something that we were like, all right, the record's out, let's listen through it, and now we can kind of figure out what the live arrangement's going to look like.
Right, shows. Good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's hard to book. I mean, it's not hard to book tour. I can book a tour, I can play a tour, all that's great. But like, man, it's hard. And I don't love hard things. So I'm hesitant to just hurdle myself through time and space every time I put a record out. We are going to play some shows this fall. I can't really announce all that yet, but they are incoming. And I think to your question, like, no, I just make these records. I don't think about how I'm going to promote them. I don't think about how I'm going to present them live. I have stage fright from way back, so that part scares me and always has. And so, if I were thinking about that during the creation process, it would be very scared
Yeah.
sounding throughout. So I try to just imagine that that's not happening. And ultimately, it's not really like it's not like it used to. I think if people book me to play a show, I show up and it's great. But I'm not like trying to pay any more dues or struggle to like travel and sleep on the road in a van. Like none of that is happening, and
Mhm.
that's by choice. I love my house and my life, and I love making music, but I'm 16 years into addiction recovery, and it's just way easier to be not on the road than on the road.
Gotcha. Well, when you did go back and play, like, is that something that, you always look forward to, or is it, now that obviously you've been out of it for a little bit, but like, kind of taking yourself back a little bit, was that a part of the, part of the experience that was, as you were paying your dues, like, is that something that kind of shaped you to now?
Certainly paid a lot of them and had several good tours and several disaster tours, lots of great shows, lots of terrible shows. But I think the thing that makes me feel connected to people through my music is not necessarily me standing there and singing my songs
Mhm.
in front of people. That part makes me feel overexposed more often than not. And I do think it was part of why I am the kind of artist I am now. All of those experiences led me to this place. And you know, it's fun to go out and make a little money and or try to break even or whatever people are doing these days. But it's also fun to like, you know, chase down licensing with filmmakers and do other sort of out of the box activation moments, which we're doing this fall with these events.
Nice. So, it's interesting you mentioned that somebody else we've had on as well, like very into the film scoring, type of
Yeah.
that aspect. And so like what's that process like for you on the artist side? We talked with oh my goodness, it's blowing my I'm losing it. But anyway, we talked with somebody who really they are on the other
Like
side where
this,
they're
and then you can enter the name. We talked with
yeah. We're talking with and
yeah.
yeah, I'll be able to edit that back in. Yeah, maybe.
Um, yeah, yeah. No, I've been on both sides of that, on the music supervision side as
Mhm.
well as like the songwriting side, and it's fun. I'm a filmmaker as well as a musician, so I think that way. I think visually. Every album has had videos since 1998. So when you go and like look at that like music videos playlist, there's like 49 of them or something. I'm very committed to the bit at this point. And I think that, you know, for me, that's because all growing up, music videos were so important. Musicals were important. MTV in particular, I was like a forbidden fruit in a way. I was raised in a home where we weren't allowed to watch it. We couldn't listen to secular music or anything. So my experience of MTV and music videos was just like this glorious, untouchable, magical thing. And I still am motivated by that.
Well, I mean, when you're creating those, pieces, like I guess I get back to the first question I asked about the about creating the music and then kind of seeing it live. Now, what
Yeah.
about creating the music and seeing it through the video? Like, what? How do you? I'm always astounded by videos because I think about it like I always think about Prodigy "Smack My Bitch Up." That video where it's like
Yeah.
everything's going crazy and it's like you think
A good one.
it's one thing and then there's a very the twist at the end. I won't give it away for our
For
audience if
people
they
who
have.
have not caught it since 1990 something, we don't want to spoil it.
Hey, you never know. You never know who hadn't seen it. But how do you think through like visually a song? What comes to you? Like, what's the inspiration there? Sometimes.
Yeah, I think it's different each time. Sometimes I just like vibe with a filmmaker and let them do their thing, and other times I have like a vision for what I want to see happen. That this was one of those times with softcore. I wanted this whole era to feel like a texture almost, or really leaning into being masculine but in a feminine sort of container. Wanted to bring out both of those experiences in a pronounced way, and I think we did that through fashion and through certainly the visual element this time.
Very cool. Very cool. Any videos that you've or films you've worked on that like you feel like that was something that when you go away or you die like you want that played at your funeral.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about the lot of it. You know,
Yeah.
like I feel proud of my catalog, even the stuff that I wish I had done differently. I'm happy for that to be what the world remembers me by. I think this new softcore short film is really important to me. I made a short film called Distracted last year, which is important to me. Yeah, it's a tough question because they're all kind of babies to me in different ways. But I think this most recent experience was so involved and took so much effort that it was just a labor of love for everybody involved.
Gotcha, gotcha. Well, as far as as this record comes out, we have. I'm sure you have, we're going back to Oregon, so you're packing
Yeah,
up and heading back. But I'm sure the creative juices are not going to, continue to dry up there. Like,
right.
what's next? I mean, what are the things that you want to get to? Do you want to write a full length film? Do you want to do, any more into that world? Like, what's kind of the future look like?
I don't know. That's a great question. The record just came out 5 days ago, so I'm very much in like this
Mhm.
moment, and I try to live in that. Right, like it's happening right now. I'm trying not to be thinking about what's next, just at the summit, sitting
Yeah,
down, looking at the view because it's nice up here. So I'm
yeah.
trying to give myself that. Definitely moving to Portland. Going to focus on my personal life for a little bit and see what happens. I got engaged, so I'm going to get
Oh,
married. Things like that, and then I'm sure songs will come. I can't plan for songs or they don't come. I have to just let life happen and then write about life, and then songs happen from there.
I love it. I love it. Well, as we, as you get back in there, and you got my brother just went through his, his wedding last year, and I know, just from his perspective, I was a third party, and I'm like, man, that's a lot of stuff going on there. So I'm sure you'll have your hands full.
Yeah, we're gonna move first, then wedding.
I like it. I like it. Well, as we move towards kind of the wrapping up here, I want to get into Pete Peterson's party pack of questions. I'm sure that the wedding's going to be quite a party, so we'll warm you up here a little bit, in that fashion. So there's 20 questions right in a row here. This or that. I will give you off the top. The last question will be about bands or artists that we ought to check out that we might not know. So be thinking about that in your brain.
Sounds good.
As we roll through this food list here. Here we go. All right, Pete Peterson's party pack of questions. Logan Lynn, here we go. Cake or pie?
Pie.
All right, he's pieing it up. I like it. Salad or soup?
Salad, but only recently.
Oh, okay. A converted salad. I like it.
Very recently. I love salad now. Yeah.
Sunrise or sunset?
Sunsets.
Sunsets. Okay. All right. Would you rather hit a home run or score a touchdown?
One is football and one is baseball.
Yeah.
I don't want to get the head injury, so baseball.
Baseball. I like it. All right. Smart. Night in or night out? What are you having more of these days?
Night in. There's nothing out there I need.
Fair enough. All right. I'll run this back. Back in the day when your jam came on,
yeah.
Robot or the Worm? What were you breaking out more likely?
Robot.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And I don't need to hearken far back for that.
All right. At your favorite Tex-Mex spot, guac or queso?
Guac.
Guacamole. All right. Let's go. Waffles or pancakes?
Waffles. Yum.
All right. Coffee or tea with your waffles?
Tea.
Teeing it up. Okay. Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Okay. All right.
All day long.
Dogs all day.
But also, I'm allergic to cats, so it's kind of nature that made that decision.
Okay. It wasn't really your choice. That's fair. Ninja or a pirate? What do you identify more with?
Ninja.
All right. He's moving through the shadows. I like
Only
it.
because they have like the shiny weapons.
Okay. All right. Gatorade or Powerade?
Neither. Too many weird dyes.
Yeah.
Water. Tap water. If I have to name one, I'd say Gatorade because I've had that.
Gotcha. Toast or bagels?
Bagels.
Bagels all day. All right. Chips or pretzels?
Pretzels.
All right. Fries or tots?
Tots.
TV show or a movie after a long day?
TV show.
Okay. Are aliens real?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Seems like it. The government said yeah, so
yeah.
Seems right.
Bigfoot. Is that real?
Sure.
Pacific Northwest. I thought you might have a couple opinions there.
I haven't thought about that one. It seems like a lot of people think that's real, so like probably. I mean, I'm agnostic about this stuff. It's like maybe.
Yeah. All right. What about love at first sight? Is that real?
I think so. Yeah, I believe in that.
Believe in it. And a final question of Pete Peterson's party pack: who are a couple of bands or artists that we might not know that we ought to check out?
Do you know Kyle Andrews?
I do not.
Kyle Andrews is my new fave. Also, this band Fawn, which is made up of ex-members of Chromatics and Glass Candy. And my label mates Glitter Fox. I love them. And this band in Idaho called Desolation Horse. I love them too. I think I just mentioned Chromatics, but Ruth Radley has a solo career. The former lead singer of Chromatics. She's put out an EP. It's so good. And you've heard of Idols, but like, oh my God, that new Idols record is so freaking good. I also love Cub Sport. I'm naming so many bands, but those are my playing the hits all around my house these days from that group of people.
All right. I'm going to run it back to you. Kyle Andrews, Fawn, which is members of Chromatics.
Yeah.
And Glitter Fox. Glitter Fox.
Yeah.
Desolation Horse. Desolation Horse.
Idaho.
Horse. Yeah. All right. And then Ruth, and I had Ruth Ruth
Radley, Radelet. She's the former singer of Chromatics.
Of course, Idols and
Cub Sport.
Cub Sport. We love it. All right. Well, those are some that we can check out. Everyone can check out your song, I feel alone when I'm with you right here in the description below. Very excited to, kind of, see the progression, really, live in this record and bathe for a little bit. And, this would be a good, reminder that it's out. This will come out later this year. So, we'll get we'll get everything rolling for you. But appreciate you taking the time, this afternoon for you, to step in with us at Indiebnb.
Yeah, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you.